Greece's incumbent Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis secures a convincing win in Sunday's general election.
Russian claims it has captured Bakhmut have once again been denied by the Ukrainian authorities as President Zelensky flies home from the G7 summit.
The Pope prays for peace in Sudan as fighting goes on despite an agreed ceasefire due to come into force on Monday evening.
14 films supported by the European Commission have been shown at Cannes, including 4 that are competing for the Palme d'Or.
Greece looks set to be heading for new elections after Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis' New Democracy Party triumphed in Sunday's poll but failed to obtain an absolute majority.
Χωρίς αμφιβολία, ο πολιτικός σεισμός που εκδηλώθηκε σήμερα μας καλεί όλους να επιταχύνουμε την διαδικασία για οριστική κυβερνητική λύση στον τόπο, ώστε η πατρίδα μας να έχει το συντομότερο δυνατόν έμπειρο χέρι στο τιμόνι της.
Ο Κυριάκος Μητσοτάκης δεσμεύτηκε ότι θα ακολουθήσει τις επιταγές του συντάγματος. Μιλώντας όμως σε οπαδούς της Νέας Δημοκρατίας, ξεκαθάρισε τις προθέσεις του. Μίλησε για επόμενες εκλογές, είπε ότι ο αγώνας αρχίζει από αύριο κιόλας και είπε επίσης ότι η κάλπη αυτή θα επιβεβαιώσει και μαθηματικά αυτό που ήδη έδειξαν ότι θέλουν οι πολίτες. Δηλαδή μία ακόμα αυτοδύναμη κυβέρνηση της Νέας Δημοκρατίας.
Alexis Tsipras, the leader of the opposition Syriza party, admitted that its score on Sunday was extremely negative, but called on his supporters to mobilize for a possible second vote.
Ο εκλογικός κύκλος, ωστόσο, δεν έχει ακόμα τελειώσει, δεδομένου ότι κατά πάσα πιθανότητα θα υπάρξει δεύτερη εκλογική αναμέτρηση. Συνεπώς, δεν έχουμε το περιθώριο του χρόνου. Πρέπει να κάνουμε άμεσα όλες τις αλλαγές που χρειάζονται, ώστε να δώσουμε με τους καλύτερους δυνατούς όρους την επόμενη κρίσιμη και τελική εκλογική μάχη.
Το εκλογικό αποτέλεσμα προκάλεσε σοκ στο κόμμα της αξιωματικής αντιπολίτευσης. Ο ΣΥΡΙΖΑ είδε τα ποσοστά του να καταραίουν και την πολιτική του πρόταση να απορρίπτεται από την κοινωνία. Εφόσον σε λίγες εβδομάδες οδηγηθούμε σε δεύτερες εκλογές, το ερώτημα είναι τι μπορεί το κόμμα να πει, να προτείνει, ώστε να επαναδιεκδικήσει την εμπιστοσύνη των πολιτών.
The PASOK party performed above expectations. The Communist Party and the right-wing Hellenic Solution Party also qualified for the new parliament.
Russian state TV has officially claimed that Wagner mercenaries, with the support of Russian troops, have seized the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut. It showed a video of Russian soldiers celebrating. However, Ukrainian military officials have rejected the claims, saying their soldiers were still fighting in Bakhmut. The 8-month battle for Bakhmut has been the longest and probably most bloody of the conflict in Ukraine, and it isn't clear which side has paid a higher price. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has left the G7 summit in the Japanese city of Hiroshima after securing unwavering support and more ammunition and weapons from 7 of the world's richest democracies.
Сьогодні, в неділю, тут, в Хіросімі, Україна була дійсно почесним учасником роботи Великої Сімки. Українська тематика центральна, шана до всіх українців, особливо дякую Сімці.
The pledges of support are key to the delayed Ukrainian spring offensive, and a US agreement to allow its Western allies to supply Ukraine with advanced fighter jets, including American-made F-16s, is vital, but as yet no country has committed to supplying the jets to Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky huddled with some of his biggest backers here in Hiroshima. The Ukrainian leader's in-person appearance underscoring the centrality of the war for the G7 bloc of rich democracies. He saw US President Joe Biden announce new military aid and lay the groundwork for the eventual transfer of American-made fighter jets to Ukraine. On the sidelines of the summit, Zelensky met with Indian Prime Minister Modi, their first face-to-face talks since the war. India is a major buyer of Russian arms and oil and has avoided outright condemnation of Russia's invasion. India and Brazil have remained non-aligned in the war. That does not appear to have changed, and there wasn't even a meeting here with Brazilian President Lula da Silva. Zelensky's presence here somewhat stole some of the limelight from other priorities, including security challenges in Asia and outreach to the developing world. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida had wanted nuclear disarmament to be a major focus of discussions. He twice took leaders to visit the Peace Park here, dedicated to the tens of thousands who died in the world's first wartime atomic bomb detonation. Some survivors of the US attack in 1945 worried that Zelensky's inclusion at the summit had overshadowed that priority. Philip Crowther, Euronews, Hiroshima.
Smoke rising from buildings near a Sudanese military airbase in southern Khartoum on Friday. Fresh fighting broke out just hours after rival generals agreed to an upcoming one-week ceasefire amid ongoing talks in Saudi Arabia. The ceasefire is due to go into effect at 21:45 local time on Monday evening. It's the latest in a string of agreed truces that have been systematically violated. On Sunday, Pope Francis expressed dismay that fighting continues in Sudan and called on the international community to spare no effort so that dialogue prevails to ease the fighting.
Per favore, non abituiamoci ai conflitti e alle violenze. Non abituiamoci alla guerra, per favore.
The conflict pits the Sudanese army, led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, against the paramilitary rapid support forces, led by Burhan's former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. Around 1,000 people have been killed and over 1 million displaced throughout the weeks of intense fighting. Following the G7 summit, Emmanuel Macron has made a brief but symbolic visit to Mongolia. It's the first by a French president to the landlocked country, which lies between China and Russia, and which is of growing strategic interest in the West. Mongolia is viewed as a small island of democracy in a vast ocean of authoritarian regimes. The trip was aimed at boosting ties with regard to the environment, agriculture and the food industry, as well as reducing Mongolia's dependence on its neighbours.
Europe is present every year at Cannes, and it was Thierry Breton, the European Commissioner for the Internal Market, who came to the Palais des Festivals to present the results of the Commission's action and to unveil its media outlook.
J'ai présenté le Media Outlook, c'est-à-dire en fait un travail très approfondi qui a été fait par nos services, évidemment avec l'ensemble de la profession, pour voir les grandes tendances. Alors les grandes tendances, on les connaît, puis en tirer les conclusions. C'est évidemment l'émergence des plateformes, comment on se positionne par rapport aux plateformes. C'est évidemment la protection des droits intellectuels, qui est tellement important pour nous en Europe. Et croyez-moi, on y veille évidemment en Europe. C'est le financement. Donc comment accroître encore plus le financement? On fait déjà beaucoup. Et on a l'intention de continuer, évidemment.
14 films supported by the program are present in Cannes, and 4 are competing for the Palme d'Or, including Kidnapped by the Italian master Marco Bellocchio, which tells the true story of a Jewish child forcibly baptized by the Pope in the 19th century.
Nous sommes un État de droit, nous avons des valeurs, nous les partageons, c'est notre bien commun en Europe. Et c'est vrai que dans ce contexte, les industries du monde audiovisuel, au sens large, jouent un rôle absolument essentiel en Europe. On se le rappelle tous les jours du reste, du rôle essentiel qui est de protéger notre patrimoine intellectuel, j'allais dire, y compris à un moment où la guerre frappe notre continent en Ukraine.
3 other films in competition are directed by women. 4 Daughters, Club Zero, and La Chimera, a story of archaeology, secrets, and Etruscan antiquities theft.
La Commission européenne prend donc en compte que le cinéma est un art et une industrie, en finançant de nombreuses coproductions européennes et en accompagnant les films jusque dans les plus grands festivals du monde. Il s'agit pour l'Europe de répondre à un marché extrêmement concurrentiel et en permanente mutation, tout en affirmant ses valeurs culturelles et artistiques, ainsi que son savoir-faire industriel et technologique. Au marché international du film, dans le Palais des Festivals de Cannes, Frédéric Ponsard pour Euronews.
Ukrainian women, far away from home and their loved ones, have joined several Czech women to form a so-called sunflower choir. Together they sing songs they have known since childhood, but also Czech and Polish songs, a chance to spread joy in the country that has welcomed them. At charity concerts, they also sell their own merchandise, not only showing their unwavering support for their homeland, but also to help buy some basic necessities.
Vlastně na počátku byla myšlenka jenom toho zpěvu společného, té radosti, a nakonec se ukázalo, že vlastně jsme schopni tím zpěvem a tou radostí, kterou rozdáváme, vydělat i nějaké ty peníze, které vlastně potom jsme schopni zase přetavit dál do hygienických věcí, do ponožek, do čelovek, do věcí, které vlastně lidi na Ukrajině potřebují.
Not big things, but small practical gifts like flashlights, power banks, socks, dried food or sweets are sent back to be shared in the battlefield.
Начинались сирены, то уже бежали в гараж, в подвал гаража и прятались в гараже, чтобы детям также не было страшно. То мой сын, то моя дцера, а то...
Many Ukrainian families fled to the Czech Republic when Russia's war broke out in February last year. These packages include personal messages for loved ones on the front line.
Постарайтеся у себе, своє околі, а врайтеся výtěžně. Čekáme.
Inter armam silent muze, ve válce mlčí muzy, říká staré latinské přísloví. Tady umění naopak pomáhá, a to lidem na Ukrajině. Jiří Skácel, Euronews, Litomyšl, Česká republika.